Now, once we're ready with our project and you understand the basics on how the application will work, now it's time to create the backend or the brain of your application using the ChatGPT. So what you need to do is to go to this main.py file, and firstly you need to import some libraries. So let's firstly import Flask. So from Flask import, and here let's hover and install the package Flask, and then I will import the Flask class, the requests library, and also the render template in order to render our front end. Then let's import OpenAI. Okay, then I will do app equals to Flask name. So this is where our app will be running. And then here, let's add our API token. So I will do OpenAI.API key. And here you're getting a warning because I didn't install the OpenAI. So let's do that. Okay, so you can see here in the bottom that this gets installed. And once you're done, this error should disappear. Okay, and here you can place your OpenAI API token. If you don't know what this token is, I advise you to watch the previous section where I'm explaining in detail how and from where you can get this token. Basically, you need to do that from your OpenAI account. Now, the next step is to create the first function of your new application, and that will be the front page. So let's do app.route. Okay, then let's do methods equals to get and post. Okay, so this means that in our application, actually the get should be with caps, so get and post. So this means that in the front page we will do get and post method. Then let's create the function. So let's do def index. Okay, so this will be our front page. So this means that by simply going to the link of our application, we will immediately see what will be displayed in our index function. So let's do if request.method is equal to post. Okay, so this means that if we post something or we send some information to the API, then we want to call the OpenAI function. And you remember that the OpenAI functions can be reached by using the OpenAI completion create function, which takes things like the engine, the prompt, the number of tokens, and so on. Now, since the idea is that we send a code and also an error, right? So if you see in those fields, we were sending to the AI some code that we had, and also we sent the error that we had from this code. Well, since this is the case, what we need to do is to define the code and the error. So since we get those from the user, I will create those variables here. So let's do code equals to request.form code. Okay, and then error will be equal to request.form error. And later on, we will pass these variables to our fields, and wherever the user put in the field in the request, it will be assigned to the code and then to the error respectively. So then let's create our first prompt. So the idea is that we send two requests to the OpenAI. One of them will ask the artificial intelligence to explain the error, while the other one will ask the AI to fix it. So if you do prompt equals, and here we can send a message to the OpenAI. So let's write explain the error in this code without fixing it. Okay, and then I will create two spaces, so n, then I will add the code that the user provides, right? Then I will create two more spaces, so /n/n, and then I'll provide the error. Okay, and then let's create a little bit more space. Okay, and here I'll put the error. So we'll have something like the question, then you have two spaces where you have the code, then you have two more spaces, error, and then here two spaces below you will provide the error, right? So this is how we're going to separate the request. The /n means space. Okay, then let's define the model engine. So let's do model underscore engine, and here you can choose from the different OpenAI engines. I will choose DaVinci 003 because this is the GPT-3 model. So I will do text dash DaVinci dash 003, and after that let's do another variable, and here I'll write explanation completions. Okay, and here we're going to take the response from the OpenAI about the explanation. So I will do OpenAI dot completion dot create. Okay, and here I will pass all the variables needed. So let's do engine equals to the model engine that we provided here. Then the prompt will be equal to the prompt that we created right there. Then I will keep the max tokens to 1024. Okay, the repetition will be equal to 1, so we get only one answer. The stop will be none, so we're not going to interrupt our response when the AI sees certain keyword. And finally, the temperature will be equal to 0.9. Okay, since here we want exact answers but not variety of answers, so we are aiming for the most correct answer because you want your code to be fixed with quality. So once you're ready with that, then the explanation will be taken from the explanation completion. So if you do explanation equals to explanation completions dot choices at position 0 dot text. Okay, so here's how we get the explanation, and now this variable has the explanation for our code. Now I'm going to call this function again, so I will copy this and paste it here. The only thing that I will change is the name of this variable, so this will be fixed code completion. Okay, and actually I will add another line here. I will copy the prompt and I will modify it. So here, instead of explain this error, I will write fix this code. Okay, let's add some lines here. Then I will add the code and then I will add error. Okay, and here I will show the error as well. Okay, and then I will add one line more and I will write respond only with the fixed code. Okay, that way we will ensure that the AI will not add any additional explanation to the fixed code because we already have the explanation for the code. So what we would expect that here we're going to get only the fixed code to our problem by providing the error code and error. So here I will just change the name of that prompt, so I will write fixed code prompt. Okay, and this is what I will write here, fixed code prompt. So we know that to this function we send specifically that message. Okay, so this is how our function looks like. And after that, let's get the text from our fixed code prompt. So I will do fixed code completion. Okay, and here I will write fixed code equals to fixed code completions dot choices at position 0 dot text. Okay, so we're ready with the functions. We should now have in the explanation of our fixed code, and also in the fixed code variable, our fixed code. So now once this is done, let's render our front end, which we didn't create yet, and provide to the front end the explanation and the fixed code so we can render it and put it in the right fields. And then once we are ready, let's provide the fixed code and the explanation to our front end, which is not created yet, but we will send those two variables, the outcome of the artificial intelligence response, to the fields in our front end to be displayed. So I will do return render template, okay, and I will specify the name of the template, which will be index.html, comma, so explanation will be equal to explanation, and then fixed code, I will actually put that on the next line. So fixed code will be equal to fixed code. Okay, actually let's place them like this so it's more presentable. And bear in mind that this return is specifically in our post function. So this means that always when we click a button, we will do a post, those two functions will activate, and then we will update our index.html template. So it's very important that this return here is specifically into this if statement, okay? And after that, once we're ready with the if and we returned what we want, now we want to specify what would happen if we didn't run any post request, which means what would happen if the user simply goes to the page without clicking any buttons. Well, in that case, we want to render the index.html without sending those parameters. So what we will do, we would return render template, and then here I will specify index.html. Okay, let's add some space here. And congratulations guys, your backend is completely ready. Okay, so the brain of your application is ready. I will only write here a statement with which we can actually run the application from the file. So I will do if name equals to main. Okay, let's run the app.run. Okay, so this will run our application, and you'll see that if I try to run it, I will get an error when I open the application, and this is because we still don't have the index.html file that we want to render. And if you go here, you can see that this is specifically the error that the index.html is not found. So this is what we're going to be doing in the next video.